Hi, everybody. My name is Rita Crompton. I'm also known as the Inventor Lady. And today's title is poking a little bit of fun at the USPTO. Does the right hand really know what the left hand is doing? And implication is there, no, they don't. In Houston, we have a problem. But let me back up and say, after we poke a little bit of fun at the USPTO, we need them. And yes, they do. The right hand does know what the left hand is doing. I was being facetious. And so let's start a little bit at the beginning here. Okay, so an examiner takes a look at your application and you do a tug of war to get your geography. And the examiner says, yes, Mr. Inventor, this intellectual property belongs to you for 20 years. Yay. And then somebody infringes on your intellectual property, the bad guys. And then as they're going through that, they want to be able to steal your intellectual property. They ask the office, the PTAB office, the patent trials and appeals board, got to get all the letters going in the right direction. And they ask them to invalidate your patent. And they say, okay. So what we're trying to do is get, if the examiner, all right, allows that patent to be issued, that there is a reason. They did a good job. They spent hours going through and looking for other intellectual property, evaluating that what you've got is really new and novel. And so when they say yes, it wasn't like they just set it over a martini or something. They did the work to grant you the intellectual property and to say you own it. Some bad guy doesn't get to come in through the back door and say, oh, no, you shouldn't have issued that patent. We want it invalidated because we're making millions of dollars. So what we are doing as the presidents of a lot of different inventor groups, there were about 100 people at on Capitol Hill last week that were petitioning and asking for support from the senators and the representatives to close that door that Congress allowed to be open. So it wasn't the USPTO that created this kind of mess. They're having to deal with it. And although they've been able to do some minor adjustments to try to help with that, the fix has to come from Congress, and it's going to start with us. So we'll be sending out and posting phone calls. All right, you need to make phone calls. Letters don't work anymore. They get a ton of letters. They've got some staffer that puts them in piles and says, oh, we got this many letters. Emails, anybody can cut and paste into an email. Petitions, no, and no. Phone calls. We're going back a little bit in technology. Make a phone call. And what we're going to do is send out, topics, but you still have to make the phone call and say, all right, we're all calling with this one of these 3 topics over the next few weeks. And it's short, sweet. And even if you don't get to talk to the congressman, him or herself, and you're talking for it still counts. And because it's personal. All right. So, we have somebody say, well, I got 5 phone calls on this issue. Representative Massey, when he was talking to us last week, he said, if I get 5 or 6 phone calls a day, that's a lot. He said, I got 10 phone calls from inventors in my constituencies. And they were saying, Representative Massey, we need you to do this. And it's like, I got 10 phone calls. Holy cow, that's a lot. But one of the things that he shared with us is the fact that when, the senators and representatives go in for a vote, they will actually ask each other, how many phone calls did you get on this issue? So we want to make sure that we've got the greatest voice we can have in protecting inventors' rights. And it was pretty simple. We had the opportunity to tell Congress, all right, what the problem was and what we needed for the fix. So when we get to the USPTO, yes, we beat up on them a little bit and saying, how can you allow this to happen? But the truth of the matter is, we need them. And they need us. So this is a consolidated effort that when a congressman calls the USPTO and says, this is what we heard, and they say, yes, this is a problem. We need the validation that it's a problem. We need them to have our backs that it's a problem. And we need to have theirs. They're the big guys in the room, but in this battle, they're vulnerable as well. So we need to make sure that we're able to help fix it. But it takes everybody's voice. It's like any other cause. And this is not politics. This issue is American. It's the economy. Innovation is what we have been built on. Other countries envy our system. So we are really looking at working with the USPTO on this, not against them. And though we might be facetious a little bit and we might get angry and say, how can you let this happen? They aren't letting it happen. It happened inadvertently, and we need Congress to fix it. And like I said, we need the USPTO support. So how does this come back to licensing now with Inventor Lady? And it's a big deal. Josh will be the first one to tell you. Josh Malone, inventor of a bunch of balloons, and the gentleman who is pushing this up the hill, so to speak, let us know that if he had not licensed his intellectual property to a toy company, he would never have had the ability to fight it. He wouldn't have the bigger muscles, the deeper money pockets. He will be the first to tell you, and his 8 kids and his lovely wife, that if it had not been for licensing, we would have had a problem. Telebrands would have gotten away with it. And the way it was, they were held accountable. Josh Toy Company received a big settlement. There is a movie about this called Invalidated on Amazon. So go and take a look at it. It's about 55 minutes. I will be sending the link out next week in one of the writings that I do as a follow-up to this. So watch for it, take a look, but you can find it Invalidated on Amazon, and it will tell you the story. It lays it out, the years of fighting. More power to Josh now. He packed up his family and moved to DC to fight this on Capitol Hill and to work with the USPTO to get it the support that we need. We can't do it alone, all right? But the USPTO, they need us. If the independent inventor disappears, so do a lot of those jobs. So onward and upward, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a fight to protect our intellectual property. A lot of you may not know, but it says in the Constitution, it really does say in the Constitution that if you have been awarded this intellectual property, it is yours. It is yours. And so if you were on vacation and you came home and somebody had taken your house that you paid a mortgage on every month, you'd be cranky. I'd be cranky. And you have a right to be cranky. Somebody took your intellectual property. All right. In this case, they took your real estate. If they stole your car, you'd be cranky. You have a right to fight for this. Somebody says you own this, you paid for it, you developed it. It's yours for 20 years. Claim it. Fight for it. Protect it. We're here to help you. Rita at inventorlady.com. If you have any questions, you want more information about this, send me an email, Rita at inventorlady. Go to my website. If you look hard enough, you can find my phone number almost any place. So I will be talking to you next week.